I didn't stop her when she took credit for my work. I didn't correct anyone, didn't interrupt, didn't even react. Not when my parents praised her like she had built everything from scratch. Because sometimes, you don't stop someone from taking what's yours. You let them take it. Completely. The attention, the recognition, the responsibility, and most importantly, the expectations. Because what people don't realize is, when you take credit for something, you also take ownership of what comes next. And what came next was failure, not small mistakes, not minor issues, a complete breakdown. The kind you can't hide, the kind everyone sees. And when it happened, no one looked at me, no one asked me anything, because in their minds, it was never mine, it was hers. And that's when everything changed. And the worst part? She never saw it coming. It started as something small, not a big plan, not a major project, just an idea. Something I had been working on quietly for months, after work, late nights, weekends, refining it, improving it, building something that actually worked. Not for attention, not for recognition, but because I believed in it. Growing up, my sister Lauren had always been the visible one. Confident, outgoing, comfortable taking space. And my parents loved that. They encouraged it, celebrated it. And I was the opposite. More reserved, more focused. The one who worked quietly in the background. Lauren didn't like effort. She liked results. The outcome, the recognition, the part people saw, but not the process behind it, not the work. And over time, I noticed something. She didn't build things. She presented them. One evening, during a family dinner, the conversation turned toward work. My parents asked what I had been doing. And for once, I answered honestly. I explained the project, the structure, the progress. Not in detail, just enough to share. And that's when Lauren got interested. "What exactly does it do?" she asked, leaning forward. More engaged than usual. I explained a bit more. Still simple, still surface level. And she nodded, smiling slightly, like she understood something bigger. Something I didn't. At least, that's what it looked like. A few days later, Lauren started talking about something familiar. My idea, but differently, more confidently, more publicly. She talked about it like it was hers. Confident, clear. Not once mentioning my name, to friends, to relatives, as if she had been involved from the beginning. And at first, I thought it was just excitement. Then it happened. At another gathering, someone complimented her. "That project you're working on sounds amazing." She smiled and let them believe it was hers, not once correcting them, not once saying my name. She just looked at them and said, "Thank you." My parents immediately supported it, encouraged her, praised her. "See? This is what we mean. She always takes initiative." And I sat there, listening, watching, understanding something clearly. They didn't see the difference. I could have corrected them, explained everything, set the record straight. But I didn't. Because something told me this wasn't the moment. And sometimes, letting things play out reveals more than stopping them early. So I stayed quiet. I let her take the credit, the attention, the recognition. Because I understood something she didn't. This wasn't just success she was taking, it was responsibility. And eventually, that matters. What started as a small misunderstanding quickly turned into something bigger. Lauren didn't just accept the credit, she expanded on it. Every time she talked about the project, it became more detailed, more structured, more hers. And the strange part was, people believed her, not because she explained it better, but because she presented it better, confidently, without hesitation. At first, my name was still mentioned, occasionally, briefly, like a footnote. Danielle helped a bit. She gave some input. But over time, even that disappeared. Until eventually, I wasn't part of the story at all, and no one questioned it. My parents were proud, not quietly, publicly. They talked about Lauren everywhere, to friends, to relatives, even people I didn't know. She's building something big. She's always been like this. And every time they said it, I noticed something. They weren't just praising her, they were reinforcing their belief about me. Lauren leaned into it, completely. She started posting about the project, talking about it online, sharing updates, milestones, plans. Everything looked polished, professional, convincing. Because from the outside, it was real. But there was one problem, a quiet one no one else could see. Lauren understood the idea, but she didn't understand the structure behind it, the details, the systems, the things that actually made it work. And those things weren't visible. At first, it was small. Errors started showing up. Not enough for people to question, but enough for me to know something was already breaking. Things that could easily be ignored, explained away, adjusted quickly, and no one noticed. Because success creates patience. The more attention she received, the more confident she became, more ambitious, more vocal. She started making bigger claims, setting higher expectations, talking about expansion, future plans, things that required a deeper understanding, which she didn't have. I watched everything, carefully, not emotionally, not angrily, just aware. Because I knew exactly where the gaps were, exactly where things would break. And I didn't interfere. Then came the opportunity, a real one, a bigger platform, more visibility, more pressure. The kind of situation where things either grow or collapse. And Lauren accepted it, without hesitation. That moment changed everything. Because now, it wasn't just attention, it wasn't just praise, it was responsibility. Real responsibility. With real consequences. And for the first time, the outcome wasn't guaranteed. If you've ever seen someone take credit for something they didn't fully understand, you already know where this is going. Tell me in the comments. Do you think truth always reveals itself eventually? I read every single comment. Now let me show you what happened next, because this is where things started falling apart. The opportunity came faster than expected. A presentation, a real one, not just casual conversations or social media updates, a structured pitch. In front of people who understood details, people who asked questions. The kind of situation where confidence alone isn't enough. And Lauren accepted it immediately, without hesitation, without preparation, because in her mind, this was just the next step. In the days leading up to it, I noticed something. Lauren wasn't preparing the way I would have. She wasn't reviewing systems, not checking details, not testing anything deeply. She focused on slides, on visuals, on how things looked, not how they worked. And that difference is small at first, but critical later. The night before the presentation, she was relaxed, almost too relaxed, talking about how well it would go, how impressed people would be, how this would open new doors, and everyone believed her. Because confidence is convincing, even when it's not supported by substance. I could have said something, corrected her, explained the gaps, warned her. But I didn't. Not out of spite, not out of anger, but because I understood something clearly. This wasn't my responsibility anymore. She had taken that completely. The day of the presentation, everything felt different, more formal, more serious, more real. This wasn't a family dinner. This wasn't a casual audience. These were people who paid attention, who listened carefully, who asked questions that required real answers. And Lauren walked in, smiling, confident, unshaken. At first, everything worked. Her delivery was strong, clear, confident. The slides looked polished. The structure made sense. People nodded, listened, engaged. And for a moment, it looked like she would succeed. Completely. Then the first question came. Simple, direct. But it hit exactly where she didn't have answers. Not about the idea, but the system behind it. And for a second, Lauren paused. Just a second. Barely noticeable. But I saw it. Because I knew exactly where that question landed. She answered. But not clearly. Not fully. It felt like she was navigating around the answer instead of through it. And the person asking noticed. Because when you don't understand something deeply, your answers change. They become softer, less precise. Then came another question, and another. Each one slightly deeper, more specific. And with each answer, her confidence shifted. Not dramatically, but enough. Enough for people to start noticing. And now, they were paying attention. By the time the third question came, it was clear. Something didn't add up. The structure didn't connect. The details weren't complete. And now, the room wasn't just listening anymore. It was analyzing. And that's when everything changed. The energy in the room shifted. Subtly at first, then completely. People who had been nodding earlier were now leaning forward. Not in support, in analysis. Because something wasn't connecting anymore. The confidence Lauren started with was no longer enough to carry her, and everyone could feel it. Then someone asked it, a question so specific. There was no way around it, no vague answer, no general explanation. It required understanding, real understanding. And for the first time, Lauren didn't respond immediately. She paused, and that pause said everything. She tried. Of course she did. She spoke, confident tone, controlled voice. But the content was empty. It sounded right, but it didn't mean anything. And the people in that room knew the difference. The same person asked again, simpler this time, clearer, giving her a chance. And that's when things started slipping. Because when you don't understand something, simplifying the question doesn't help. It exposes the gap even more. Lauren's expression changed, just slightly, but enough. The confidence wasn't gone, but it wasn't stable anymore. It was forced, maintained. And that's the moment people notice. Not when confidence disappears, but when it becomes effort. By now, everyone understood. Not fully, but enough. Enough to question. Enough to doubt. And once doubt enters a room, it spreads quickly. Because people stop listening and start analyzing. More questions came. Not aggressive, not hostile, just precise. And each one added pressure, layer by layer, until it wasn't just a presentation anymore. It was an evaluation. Then it happened. A direct challenge. Not rude, not emotional, just factual. That doesn't align with what you explained earlier. Simple, clear, undeniable, and there was no way around it. Lauren didn't answer. Not right away. Because now, it wasn't about confidence anymore. It was about truth. And truth requires understanding, which she didn't have. And that silence felt completely different from before. This wasn't controlled. This was exposure. And then, something shifted. Not in the room. In her. She looked around. Searching. Not for answers. For escape. And for a brief moment, her eyes landed on me, and I understood exactly what she was thinking. Because when people can't hold responsibility, they try to move it. For a brief moment, Lauren looked at me, and I saw it. That shift. That instinct. The need to move responsibility. She looked at me, just for a second, and then said, she helped with parts of it. Not loudly, not confidently, but enough. Enough to place doubt. Enough to redirect attention. And just like that, some eyes turned toward me. The room paused. Not fully convinced. Not fully confused. Just waiting. Because now, there were two possibilities. Either she had support, or she didn't. And for the first time, everyone was looking at me. I didn't rush. I didn't interrupt. Didn't defend myself. Because timing matters, and reacting too quickly would have looked like involvement. So I let the moment sit. Let the room process it. One of the panel members looked at me, calm, professional. Were you involved in building this system? He asked. Simple, direct, no emotion, just a question. And now, the entire room was watching again. I looked at him and said, no. Calm, clear, final. No explanation, no defense. And that one word changed everything. Because now, there was nowhere left for the responsibility to go. No one else to carry it. No shared credit. No shared blame. Just her. And suddenly, everything became clear. The room didn't react loudly. No confrontation. No dramatic response. Just quiet understanding. The kind that spreads slowly, but settles deeply. And Lauren felt it. That shift. That realization. That there was no way to recover this moment. My parents were silent. Completely. Because for the first time, they weren't supporting her. Not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't. There was nothing left to support. Only something to understand. I didn't stay for the rest. I didn't need to. Because everything that needed to happen had already happened. I stood up quietly, collected my things, and walked out. No one stopped me. Because the moment was no longer mine to carry. Looking back, I never exposed her. I never corrected her. I never fought for credit. I just let her take everything. And sometimes, that's the most powerful thing you can do. Because when someone takes something that isn't theirs, they don't just take the success, they take the consequences too. And in the end, those consequences always come back to them. If this story made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments, would you have stayed silent or spoken up earlier? I read every single comment. And if you think this was intense, there's another story waiting for you right now. I'll see you there.